It's okay. We'll wait. 118.7. Nana dvesti kalim samrat.
Nanu tveshti kalim samrat.
Saranga iva sarabhu.
Saranga iva sarabhu.
Kusalan yasu siddhanti.
Kushalanyashu siddhyanti.
Nitarani kataniya.
Netarani kritaniya.
Nanadesti kalim samrat.
Nanudveshti kalim samrat.
Saranga iva sarabhu.
Saranga iva sarabhu.
Kusalan yasu siddhanti.
Kushalanyashu siddhyanti.
Nitarani kataniya.
Netarani kritaniya.
Nanadesti kalim samrat.
Nanudveshti kalim samrat.
Saranga iva sarabhu.
Saranga iva sarabhu.
Kusalan yasu siddhanti.
Kushalanyashu siddhyanti.
Nitarani kataniya.
Netarani kataniya. Nanudveshti kalim samrat.
Nanadesti kalim samrat.
Saranga iva sarabhu.
Saranga iva sarabhu.
Kushalanyashu siddhyanti.
Kusalan yasu siddhanti.
Netarani kataniya.
Nitarani kataniya. Na, never.
Never.
Anudvesti,
Anudveshti.
envious.
Envious.
Kalim,
Kalim.
unto the personality of Kali.
Unto the personality of Kali.
Samrat,
Samrat.
the emperor.
The emperor.
Saranga,
Saranga.
realistic like the bees.
Realist like the bees.
Eva,
Eva.
like
Like
Sarabhuk,
Sarabhu.
one who accepts the substance.
One who accepts the substance.
Kusalani,
Kushalani.
auspicious objects.
Auspicious objects.
Asu,
Asu.
immediately.
Immediately.
Siddhanti,
Siddhyanti.
becomes successful.
Becomes successful.
Na,
Na.
never.
Never.
Itarani,
Itarani.
which are inauspicious.
Which are inauspicious.
Kritani,
Kritani.
being performed.
Being performed.
Yet,
Yet.
as much as.
As much as.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Maharaj Parikshit was a realist, like the bees who only accept the essence of a flower. He knew perfectly well that in this age of Kali, auspicious things produce good effects immediately, whereas inauspicious acts must be actually performed to render effects. So he was never envious of the personality of Kali. In other words, even if you think of doing something auspicious, you get a good result. But if you think of something inauspicious, you don't get a negative result. In other ages, you did, just by thinking. But if we had that in Kali Yuga, there'd be no population. Purport. The age of Kali is called the fallen age. In this fallen age, because the living beings are in awkward position, the Supreme Lord has given some special facilities to them. So, by the will of the Lord, a living being does not become a victim of a sinful act until the act is actually performed. In other ages, simply by thinking of performing a sinful act, one used to become a victim of the act. Was it Parasaram? His mother was thinking there was some demigod there, and she was attracted, and the husband, he was a sage, he understood, and he told one of the sons to the elder sons to kill her. He wouldn't do it. And then there was three of them, and he told the other, you do it, kill her. He wouldn't do it. He told Parasuram, kill her. He did immediately. And he said, kill the two brothers too, because they didn't do it. And he did. And he was very pleased. And he said, now, do you want any boon? Yes, bring them back to life without the remembrance that I did anything to them. Because he knew the power of his father. Amazing. On the contrary, a living being in this age is awarded with the results of pious acts simply by thinking of them. So one devotee thought, well, I'll just think of distributing a lot of books today, and I get the result. But the problem is that people don't get the books. You know? We want the people to get the books today. Maharaj Bricket, being the most learned and experienced king by the grace of the Lord, was not unnecessarily envious of the personality of Kali, because he did not intend to give him any chance to perform any sinful act. He protected his subjects from falling prey to the sinful acts of the age of Kali, and at the same time, he gave full facility to the age of Kali by allotting him some particular places. At the end of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that even though all nefarious activities of the personality of Kali are present, there is a great advantage in the age of Kali. One can attain salvation simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Thus, Maharaj Bricket made an organized effort to propagate the chanting of the Lord's holy name, and thus he saved the citizens from the clutches of Kali. It is for this advantage only that great sages sometimes wish all good for the age of Kali. In the Vedas also it is said that by discourse on Lord Krishna's activities, one can get rid of all the disadvantages of the age of Kali. Wow. In the Vedas it is said that by discourse on Lord Krishna's activities, one can get rid of all the disadvantages of the age of Kali. In the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also said that by the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Lord becomes at once arrested within one's heart. Well, that's another nice one. Some sweet sentences here. In the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also said that by the recitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Lord becomes at once arrested within one's heart. Which verse is that, I wonder? These are some of the great advantages of the age of Kali. And Maharaj Bricket took all the advantages and did not think any ill of the age of Kali, true to his Vaishnava cult. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksham Nitam Dina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Uparam Bhutavachalam Vangam Mangaite Gurim Yatripatadaham Vande Shri Guru Dintanam. Avanchikapatri Vishya Kripasinnu Devacha Pratanam Bhavani Vaishnavebhyam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Saraswati Gauravatmanda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So this is a big advantage of the age of Kali, is that simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, we become completely purified. So this is called Shreyas. There's Prayas and Shreyas. Prayas means that they want immediate benefit. It's like children. They just want to play, not thinking of the future. Just want to play. When we were children, mothers said you have to go to school now. What are you talking about? I'm just going to play. Prophet said that his mother had to hire people to take him to school. He didn't want to go to school. He just wanted to play. And Krishna was like that. He just wanted to play. Even his mother called him, no, it's time for lunch, come. I'm playing. You can't touch it. Come on, so I don't want to take it. But no, at first it was Rohini, right? And no one listened to her. So Rohini said, Yasoda, he's not listening to you. I think you're going to have to go. So she was a lot heavier, Your father's waiting. Oh, no, my father's waiting. And the children, they threatened him, if you leave now, we're not going to let you play with us anymore because this is the summit of our play now, and you're leaving. So then Krishna's like a little worried. Oh my God, you got mother's calling me here. There's children, they're threatening me over here. You didn't know which way to go. So pretty much it's like that. People just, they don't want to. I mean, who wants to go to work, or even school? I didn't like school. It's so boring, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, like 80% of the stuff we learn, we don't even use, isn't it? Unless you go to university. In the university, I guess you use stuff.
Only sometimes.
Even then, huh? Even in the university, yeah. It was such a waste of time. So there's Shreyas and there's Preyas. So this is Shreyas. This helps us to achieve the highest goal. This chanting of Hare Krishna, this hearing about Krishna. This is real intelligence. Prabhupada said that the modern scientists have lost their they have lost their brain work. Modern scientists have lost their brain work due to accepting the theory of perhaps and maybe. And then they make mistakes. Well, actually, that theory was wrong. They changed it. Yeah. Prabhupada said they've lost their brain work. It's funny. He has all these amazing statements. So this is Prabhupada is helping us to develop real intelligence. In another place, Prabhupada says that there's lazy intelligence and there's active intelligence. There's lazy fool and there's the active fool. So Prabhupada said the lazy intelligence is, he said, like the high court judge. He just sits on the, at the desk there, and he's getting paid a lot of money, and he's just deciding, where this person goes with this situation. He's just called lazy intelligence. That's also compared to the Brahmana. The Brahmana, he actually, ideal society is he guides the king. He just, he studies the Vedas, he chants Hare Krishna, he's connected to Krishna, and he gives guidance on how to lead society. And the Kshatriyas, they're called the active intelligence, because they're getting direction from the Brahmanas, and they go out and they implement what's been told by the Brahmanas. They're also the same, also many of them. Rajarsis, like Prakamara, he's a Rajarsi. Although he's active intelligence, but he's also lazy intelligence because he knows. Or same thing with Ambarish. Ambarish Maharaj, he was king, and when Durvasa Muni went to bathe, and then he was going to come back, but he had to break his fast. So he asked the Brahmanas, "What do I do? I got to break the fast at a particular time, but he's going to be there, and I don't want to take anything without him being here. What do I do?" They didn't know. Brahmanas didn't know. But Ambarish Maharaj was such a Rajarsi. He knew what to do. Take a drop of water. That's fasting. It's not fast. Breaking the fast, not breaking the fast. So he did that. But Durvasa Muni, he couldn't appreciate that. He was a little bit on the passionate. He was a Brahmana, but a little bit on the passionate side. Oh, really? You took a drop of water? I can't believe it. The big demon comes up to kill him. I mean, that's like over the top, a little bit passionate. So, but he was messing with the wrong person. You don't mess with pure devotees. So then the Sudarshan Chakra came. And Javasmuni wasn't too happy about that. But actually Ambarish, he just completely oblivious. He's like, just chant Hare Krishna, no problem. But Krishna wasn't pleased. So one has to be very careful amongst devotees. So there's Shreyas and Prayas. So this whole process that we're engaged in, this is all the Shreyas. We're thinking of the ultimate goal. We're thinking of the ultimate goal, which is to be Krishna conscious. And the result of this is that of this practice is that we're growing spiritually. We're growing spiritually. And we're shedding our material consciousness. Snakes, they shed their skin. I looked at the babies, or the young snakes, they shed like every 2 or 3 weeks, they shed a whole skin. Because the skin doesn't grow evidently. They shed it. And when they get old, they don't shed the skin anymore because they've grown the size. So they stop shedding the skin. So we're trying to shed our material desires. Replace it with, actually Prabhupada said the yoga system means to forget all the nonsense that we've engaged in the past and to focus on Krishna. This is this is the bhakti yoga process. Forget all the nonsense and focus on Krishna, replacing all that nonsense with Krishna. And eventually, actually Prabhupada said our spiritual body grows even while within this body. Because it's subtle. Our spiritual mind, our spiritual body grows as we're engaged in devotional service, and our material consciousness, in the Bhagavatam says it dissolves. The subtle body, the lust, the anger, the greed, the envy, all these subtle things, they're dissolved by the practice of Krishna consciousness. So it's a glorious journey. But in this journey, we have to be very careful, because there's many pitfalls, many what's the word? Distractions. So many distractions. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Shakta Manapada Yogam Yunjam Samsyam Samadhi touch to you. Actually, there's no verse that Prabhupada spoke on more than this verse. Maya Shakta 7.1. Maya Shakta Manapada Yogam Yunjam. You guys gotta check that out. See if Vijaya's online here. Maya Shakta Manartha. Just hear how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, you'll know me in full, free from doubt. Such an important verse. Just hear, touch to new. So many things to hear in this world, but so many things we shouldn't hear. So much garbage we shouldn't hear. There's so many things that we should hear. Like we have so many nice devotees now. We have this in Chapati, they have this website where you could hear all different devotees. What is that called? I can't think of it now.
Desire Tree?
Desire Tree.
Oh.
Yeah, you could go on Desire Tree, and there's like hundreds of devotees that you can hear from. It's like amazing. It's like a real Desire Tree. Spiritual Desire Tree. So just here, and we have so many nice books, you can hear them over and over again, over again. Just like Lord Chaitanya, God. And we heard the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj 100 times. Same thing with Prahlad Maharaj. It's interesting that the two children saints, he heard them both 100 times. Doesn't mention any other, hearing about anything else. Just it's attractive. Because it's actually very attractive to hear a child. Even to hear, to read about a child giving wisdom, it's like, wow, that's pretty deep. That's cool. I remember when I was in the early days, there was one young boy, his name was Kirtan. He was the son of Brahmatirtha. He's the son of Brahmatirtha. And he would give classes. Sometimes he would sit on the, I don't know if they give him back then, only the gurus sat on vyasas. They say he sat on a little mat and he would speak. And it was very attractive. He was a young boy speaking. So, to hear. There's different ways to hear. We could hear very attentively, or we could hear inattentively. So if we hear attentively, that's very auspicious. If we're inattentive, it's like japa. If we're inattentive in our japa, then we don't get the benefit. But if we're attentive in hearing, like there was an instance where the devotee said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, the devotees are listening to your class, but I see they're falling asleep. Somebody always falling asleep in Prabhupada's class. And Prabhupada said that my classes are for my advanced devotees. But Prabhupada he's very philosophical. He's very philosophical. And sometimes Prabhupada would speak and he would close his eyes and he would speak. And sometimes that would give way to others closing their eyes. But Prabhupada is very, very philosophical. So he said that my classes are for my advanced devotees. So yeah, we have to hear very attentively. It's interesting that in giving classes, it's not just the speaker, but it has a lot to do with the audience. It's like one time in Los Angeles, I remember Brigapati was in class. He was in the audience, and there was a devotee giving class, Prem Sankirtan, Prabhu. And Brigapati, he was just like right up there in front. Everything Prem Sankirtan would say, Brigapati would be like, wow. He was like totally into it, And it was the best class I ever heard Prem Sankirtan give, because he got a real attentive audience. Brigapati was, there was a lot of devotees there. But Brigapati was just like absorbed, So that's a lot to do with the audience too. If the speaker is giving class and the whole audience starts to go to sleep, then the speaker saying, "You might start getting a little tired too." Actually, there was a time where the speaker actually fell asleep in the class. I won't say what, but yeah, his audience wasn't so inspired. Because maybe he also wasn't giving an inspiring class. It goes both ways. So, in Srila Prabhupada, he said, the reason I was able to give classes that were inspiring to people, he said, because I heard attentively. He said, even I couldn't understand. Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is such a genius, so intelligent. It was hard to follow. And he said, even in Bengali, that was Prabhupada's first language, Bengali. So even in his Bengali class, because he's also Bengali, it was hard to follow. He's such a genius. He's called a walking encyclopedia. And what's really interesting, we were talking about the lazy intelligence and active intelligence, is that Gaura Das Babaji, he couldn't even write his name. Yeah. And one of them, I think, probably maybe didn't know the scriptures that well, maybe did, but he was a pure devotee. And therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he should be your guru, he should take shelter. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, takes one to know one. They have that. You've heard that saying in India also. Takes one to know one. So he was a pure devotee, so he knew he's a pure devotee. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he knew Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's a pure devotee. So he took shelter, but he wouldn't accept. He didn't want to take any disciples. So humble. One might think, oh, he's very intelligent, he must be my disciple. All right, yeah, sure, all right. No, he didn't want to take any disciple. And then finally he said, all right, I'll ask my Prabhu. This Prabhu means Lord Chaitanya. So then he said, okay. And he came back a few days later and, did you ask Prabhu? Oh, yeah, I forgot to ask. And then finally, he was actually ready to give up his life. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was just so determined. And finally he accepted that one disciple. So very intelligent, but one may not think so. If one looks at his credentials, very intelligent. So that's the lazy intelligence is the Brahmana. Active intelligence is the Kshatriya. With the lazy fool, he's the businessman, but he's just thinking about money. But he sits at his desk, and he's giving direction. It's like Henry Ford. He was criticized because he didn't even go to I don't think he went to high school even. So he was criticized in the newspaper. So Henry Ford took this person to court. And you're criticizing me for not being educated. He said, so he said to the judge, he's criticizing me for not being educated, but all I have to do is ring a bell, and so many PhD scientists come running to my desk. So how is it I'm not educated? And the judge said, all right, good point. So whoever criticized him, I think he had to pay a fine or something. So he was materially, but he was called, that's called a lazy fool. He's smart, and that's compared to the Vaishya. And then the Sudra, he's an active fool, because Prabhupada gave the example of a monkey. They have some intelligence, but as soon as the monkey comes around, everybody's got a stick. He's just going to create, disturbance. So a Sudra is like that also. They're just going to be the cause of disturbance. And therefore, it said that Sudras should never be allowed money, because they'll misuse it, cause chaos. But in the age of Kali, everybody's a Sudra. It's a problem. It's a problem. It said that even the Brahmanas, Kalo Sudra Sangama. Yeah, everybody's born a Sudra in Kali Yuga. But by the mercy of devotee, one can become a Brahmana. There are so many amazing devotees now. Real Brahmins. The Vaisesika Prabhu, and Keshava Swami, Radhanath Swami, Pankajangari. Now, what's his brother's name? Pankajangari, he left his body. Janadeva. Real saintly. We have some real saintly Brahmanas. So it is possible, although it's marked as a degraded age. It is, but by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, by the mercy of Prabhupada, one can become a qualified Brahmana. And that just means strictly practicing Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says in one purport that he who practices rigidly this process, then he attains the goal. I forgot the exact name. I remember the exact wording. He used that word rigid. Yeah, maybe you look it up. The rigid practitioner of Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the supreme goal. So we got to be rigid. Yeah. It's very seriously practice this. And it's good, we go to Mangalarti. Prabhupada was very emphatic about that. I was just watching a pastime in his Prabhupada memories. And Prabhupada told his secretary, go and see how many people at Mangalarti. And the devotee came back and said, there's a certain amount. And then he said, call the president. And how many devotees live in the temple? Why is only half the people at Mangalarti? Prabhupada chest. Very important. He said, I would go, but I'm doing important service here. Right? So that's an auspicious arti. It's a great way to start the day. Then we have Bhagavatam class, and we have seva. We take pizza prasadam. So, in this way, Prabhupada said that if we do this rigidly, we only eat Krishna prasadam. We only hear about Krishna. And I was just hearing Vaisheshika Maharaj. He was saying we shouldn't watch the news. Why? Why watch? It's all bad news. Nobody goes away inspired. I was like, someone's impressed to hear that, because nobody preaches strongly like that. Devotees also watch this, but it's a waste of time. No benefit. We have the news. This is the morning news. Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the morning. Good news. Every morning we have the good news. Right? So much good news. We have this Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have the Bhagavad Gita. We read them over and over and over and over again. It's so inspiring. And yeah, uplifting helps us to grow spiritually. And eventually we're going to grow and grow and grow spiritually. And then there'll be no more material consciousness. Won't that be nice? Huh? No more material consciousness, just Krishna consciousness. So we just have to stick with it rigidly, hearing, chanting, serving, practicing, being very respectful to devotees and to everybody. And Krishna will bless us with his mercy. Now, another thing about this verse is that when we're practicing Krishna consciousness, whatever we do, neha bikramanasasti pratyavayo navidyate, we get eternal. It goes in our spiritual bank account. We don't lose. But materially, it's like sometimes people they build buildings, but they run out of money, right? And it doesn't get finished. That's very common in India. I've seen. Isn't unfinished buildings? They run out of money. There's no benefit. But spiritually, if one wants to build a temple, and he just puts one brick down, or he gives $1 to have that building built, eternal benefit. Eternal benefit. So whatever we do for Krishna, that goes in our spiritual bank account. But materially, it's like someone wants to get a PhD. If he doesn't get that certificate, all that work, useless, right? Or I don't know if you heard about it in the UCSD. There was someone, he was trying to get a master's, and he kept on bringing it, and he would be rejected. But so one time he went, and again he was rejected, and he shot both of the professors dead. You didn't hear about that? Yeah, UCSD. Yeah. So when Hridayananda Maharaj went to go get his PhD, I said to Hridayananda Maharaj, mention that to the professor there, He started laughing. But yeah, he was just so, because if you don't get that certificate, it's a waste of time. All that time is wasted. So he was just so frustrated. He took their life. Dangerous to be a professor in Kali Yuga. Yeah. So, but in Krishna consciousness, whatever we do, the benefit is there. So therefore we should do as much as we can for Krishna, for the devotees, and this way we grow and grow and grow. Okay, on that note, is there any question, comment, correction?
One question, Prabhu, about the translation actually. We see here it says, auspicious things produce good effects immediately. Sometimes it doesn't always feel that way. Especially sense gratification, the effect is almost instantaneous oftentimes, but then the bad results come later.
Yeah.
Of course, the seed, fructifies at that point and then, becomes manifested in later sprouts. But I was wondering, how do we see in that vision that auspicious things produce good effects in the
Marshall was a realist, like the bees, who only accept the essence of a flower. He knew perfectly well that in this age of Kali, auspicious things produce good effects immediately. Produce, it says produce. We don't see, but it says it produces. We may not see, but whatever we do, like I said, it's marked. Krishna sees that. Yeah. So immediately we get it. Like we're sitting here in Bhagavatam class. We may not see how we're getting benefit, but Krishna appreciates. He sees, very good, they're light. So yeah. Immediately good effects. Whatever we do for Krishna, immediately Krishna sees that and it goes to our benefit. It's nice to know. Whatever we do. Whereas inauspicious acts must be actually performed to get the bad effect.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything on the internet? Our friends on the internet? Okay, on time. Oh, okay.
15 seconds.
So, Prabhu, this may not be like a question on what the Bhagavatam is saying right here. The Bhagavatam says if we think of something bad, we don't get the ill effects of it. But I think I was discussing with Devata Prabhu before that there's actually a verse in the Bible, I think Matthew 5:28-29, which says, a man who looks upon a woman with eyes anointed with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And it continues a little bit more. So it seems like if someone sees someone with lustful eyes, they get implicated in the sin. It's a different literature, I understand. So how do we prevent that? So even here, it's Dhyato Vishampopsam. If we see with lust, we get implicated in a different way, in the sense we will eventually get into the activity. How do we stop it in the bud?
The way we stop it in the bud, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Gotta pray to Krishna. Krishna, please take this garbage out of my thoughts. Please help me to think of you. We have to recognize it and say, this is not good. Sometimes we recognize it and we just let it go. You just let it go. Don't let it go. We got to stop it. Hare Krishna. We got to think of Krishna and pray for forgetfulness. We want to remember Krishna, we want to forget all the garbage. Right? So whenever this Maya enters, and Maya does, unfortunately, enter, so we have to pray to Krishna for protection. Prabhupada said that that we are, that our two diseases, we are not enough afraid of Maya, and we like to change things. So we have to have a firm fear of Maya as soon as Maya enters. Hare Krishna. Krishna, please. Help me to serve. Yeah, that's a succession of, while contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment for them. From such attachment, lust, and lust, anger, from anger, delusion, from delusion, bewilderment. Bewildered memory, because, from bewildered, because, anyway. Yeah. So anyway, you got the idea. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.